Unsure what type of insulation is in your house or what to go back with? Stick around as we get into that in the question of the day. What's going on, guys? Matt in the hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. You are tuned in to the hot list. I come to y'all Monday through Friday each and every week, and we hang out over your lunch hour and talk real estate. We talk about properties new to the market, had a recent price reduction, or something unique about the properties that I want you guys to know and want to share with you guys. I also answer a question of the day that is submitted by a listener of the podcast. And to find out how you can get your question on the show as well as answered, stick around to the end. And of course, finally, I recognize and thank a sponsor of the week each and every week. This week is no exception. If you are a sponsor that is interested in supporting the show and being recognized, make sure that you hit me up and stick around. If you guys are watching this on Facebook, make sure that you hit the like button and share it out, tag somebody, as well as comment hashtag live or hashtag replay, depending on how you are watching this. And for those YouTubers out there, make sure that you smash that thumbs up button. Doesn't cost you anything, helps out with the algorithms and gets me in front of more people in order to help them, educate them, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on those bell notifications so when I bring new episodes and new content, y'all can come in and check it out. So the property we are talking about today, newly listed property, address is 23 Locust Lane right here in Emporia. If that doesn't sound familiar to y'all, well, it is just outside of Emporia, about 5 miles. It is a 4-bed, 3-bath house. It has an attached 2-car garage, 2,902 square feet of finished space, currently listed at $315,000 courtesy of Eck Real Estate. So what is so special about this property? Well, it is a lakefront property. So Thorndale is 5 miles east of Emporia, as many of you know. It is a private lake that doesn't allow any type of motors on there. So if you got canoe, kayak, paddle boat, you are good to go. This house is on the lakefront there, has just over an acre of land, and it's a split level house, been updated on the inside with custom kitchen cabinets, quartzite countertops. It's got a new roof, and when they replaced the roof, they went back with a hail resistant type of shingling. So that is very cool. In the house, it's, like I mentioned, updated, it very open concept, hardwood floors throughout the house, full basement with a walkout basement in it, got an enclosed porch and a deck as well. So if you have any questions or want to see the property for yourself, all you have to do is just click on the link in the description. While the house is still available, it'll take you right to my website. You can see the pictures for yourself and take a look at this house. Absolutely amazing. Especially check out the sunset picture. Now moving on to the sponsor of the week. Like I said, I have a sponsor of the week each and every single week. And for those that are curious about it, if you want more information about how to become a sponsor of the week, all you have to do is just drop a comment wherever you're listening to this, and we can have a conversation, see if you are a good fit to be a sponsor of the week for the hot list. And, just make sure that we mesh well together and it's in both of our mutual interests. This week's sponsor is AO Key and Lock, and with the owner Adam Hines. I mentioned earlier that I met Adam for the first time last week, and in about a 6-minute conversation, he educated me about locks like I have not been educated before. It was just absolutely phenomenal, and him and I are definitely in the works for further conversations down the road. So what is unique about Adam's business? He is a mobile locksmith that serves the Emporia and surrounding area, and he specializes in commercial, residential, and auto. Yes, auto is a big one in a college town, so definitely keep that in mind. One of the other things that he was educating me with, and I want to share with you guys just in our short conversation, uh, is how to reinforce your lock, because the door locks just aren't enough. He said you got to use a deadbolt. You got to have a deadbolt. And what there's two things that he recommends to help strengthen and reinforce your doors. Number one is a reinforcement, or a door lock reinforcer. This is a bracket that slides on before you put the handles on, and this is a piece of metal that goes all the way around, so it helps reinforce the door, because as most of us know, most of those doors are wood, so they're not metal doors. And this, having that whole metal piece around in a U shape, definitely helps reinforce that lock and that door. The other thing that he wanted me to bring to everybody's attention as well. So you got the lock covered. Now, what about the strike plate? Well, the strike plate, what you can simply do is just, because this is one of the door's weakest spots and weakest points. So just by adding a 3-inch screw in the back of the strike plate, so not necessarily to the front of it, but for obvious reasons, to the front, but drill a hole in the back of the strike plate and run a 3-inch screw through there. This really reinforces that one of the weakest spots of a door, which like I said, is that jamb and is that strike plate. So by just doing that, that is really going to reinforce it and keep unwanted or unnecessary visitors out of your property. If you have any questions about how to get a hold of Adam, best way to get a hold of him, just by calling his phone number, which is 620-481-6513, or visit the link that's in the description, take you right to his Facebook page, where he has constant updates and additional information to get a hold of him. All right, and now the question of the day. The question of the day, like I said in the intro, is submitted by a viewer each and every day that I do this Monday through Friday. If you have a question about real estate that you would like answered, please, wherever you're listening to this, drop me a comment. I would be happy to, number one, answer your question in a timely manner, and number two, answer it on the show, because if you have that question, others have that question, and I want to do the best that I can to help educate people and inform them with answering these questions. So, question of the day: what type of insulation should I use in my home? Now, let me preface this. I don't know a whole lot about insulation. I know some of the basics about insulation. So, a lot of the answers and the topics that I'm going to discuss real quick actually come from the research that I've done, as well as some contractors that I've talked with. Because right now, as some of us know, especially here in Kansas, the weather is starting to cool down at nights. Last night, I think the low was 54. Last week, the low got into the 40s. And so it's not quite ready or to that point where you need to kick your heater on yet. And insulation in your home is absolutely essential, because that's what helps keep your house warm in the winter and actually cool in the summer. There are so many types of insulation options. It can get confusing once you really start digging into it and doing some research. So what I've done, and to help make sense of it all, we're going to cover 4 basic need to knows about home insulation, as well as some of the most common types. So number 1, how insulation works. I figured this was a great place to start, because a lot of us know what it is and what it does, but not 100% on how it works. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. Insulation works by providing a physical barrier be- between your house and usually some type of wall, whether it's concrete, uh, and it provides that physical barrier to transfer heat through parts of your home. So, for example, walls, ceilings, floors, and even your roof. Depending on the type of insulating material, it may provide a barrier to transfer heat, or it could reflect some heat in the direction that it's coming in from, which I'll get into more on some of the common types of insulation. So, for example, during the summertime, heat is prevented from entering your home through wherever that insulation is. And of course, just on the opposite of that, come wintertime, the insulation stops the heat from transferring out of the house, helps keep it in the house, and helps keep you warmer and your furnace from running as often. Number two is understanding R values, the letter R. Insulation effectiveness is measured in what's called R value. Uh, the higher materials used in the R value are going to be more resistant to heat, to the heat and the heat penetration. Insulations having a higher R value generally are thicker or made of more dense material, which allows that material to resist greater amounts of heat transfer. Makes sense, right? And some insulations actually have a lower R value but are still effective. The most common one that has a lower R value but still effective is spray foam, and that's pretty well known and pretty commonly used around here as well. Generally, it's not very thick, but it's effective because it helps seal out any type of air and fill in gaps. So R value is not the only measurement of insulation effectiveness, which we're going to get into a little bit more which leads us to number three, which are the types of insulations. I'm sure y'all know insulation is not a one size fits all. There are different types of insulation for different needs or different structures. Some of the specs of the different types of insulation are going to vary. What we are going to cover right now are going to be the most common ones that are seen in the home. One of the most common ones, I think, in my mind, when people hear the word insulation or picture insulation, this is what they picture, which is the batt insulation. This is the most common, comes out in rolls of material. Usually it's fiberglass or cotton. So if you see big rolls of insulation, it is the batt insulation. This is used for walls, floors, ceilings, or wherever large amounts of insulation is needed. The second most common one is spray foam, which we kind of got into. Now this one starts in a liquid form, and as you spray it on, it expands and hardens. This provides a layer of insulation to help fill gaps and cracks, which is important so you reduce that airflow. This is pretty handy and more commonly used because this can actually fill in and insulate where other materials miss. The third one is blown in insulation. And if you've ever done this is pretty terrible. I've done this a couple times. Not the best feeling. If you are gonna do blown in insulation, please do me a favor. Make sure that you have and wear a respirator mask. This is similar to the spray foam, not quite the same. I'm sure by the name you can tell. Blown in is applied with a blower instead of rolls. So, and instead of starting as a liquid like the spray foam, it's made of small bits of fiberglass or cellulose. This is an excellent heat retention and sound barrier as well. Typically, the most common place you'll see this is going to be in attics and maybe down the walls. Fourth one is going to be radiant barriers. This is kind of a specialty installation, and this is generally made of layers of perforated aluminum. So remember, I talked earlier in the episode about reflecting some heat. That's what this one does. This is applied to attic walls and rafters in some areas that have warmer climates, and this reflects the radiant energy from the sun back away from the house. In doing so, this reduces your attic temperatures and makes your furnace and your AC run more efficiently than it would otherwise. And finally, the fifth most common one that you're going to see in your house is window insulation. Now, originally, people see this or picture this as, just a film covering their window, or some people see it as plastic sheets over the window. Those are generally the most common ones. Now, some of the newer windows themselves have insulation built in, so that's pretty cool and pretty handy. So that's just one more type of insulation that you'll see in your house. And finally, the fourth need to know about home insulation, air sealing. So with this, the high quality insulation isn't effective if there are cracks and gaps in the walls or around the foundation. What this does, if there's any cracks or gaps, allows airflow in and out, so it's flowing freely, and there's nothing to either keep it in or keep it out. So finding and filling those cracks with a sealant is definitely important to insulating a house. That's where that spray foam or other type of air sealant comes into effect. There are different types of sealants available. Spray foam usually works the best, is the most effective, because it is both an insulator and a sealant, so you get the best of both worlds using that. So I hope that helps figure out the different types of insulation and which one works best. What's going to work best in your home? That's something that I'm not able to really answer, because I don't know the structure of your house, what type of insulation you have in there. I don't know what type of climate you're in. So that's why I covered just some of the basics here, as well as the top 5 most common types of insulation. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't have in-depth knowledge. This is just based on the research that I have done and the people I've talked to is where I came up with all of this. If you have more questions about insulation or unsure how to do it and want somebody to do it, all you got to do is give me a call, shoot me a message. I do have and keep track of a 5-star vendor list. These are vendors here in the local area that give 5-star service, and they show up, they get the work done, and it is 5-star service, 5-star work. So if you want access to that list or need somebody to talk to, all you got to do is hit me up and reach out. That's going to do it today in the hot list. So thanks for watching with Matt in the Hat, Matt Johnson Real Estate, powered by Keller Williams Diamond Partners. I do this because your experience matters and should be trusted with a veteran. Y'all have an awesome day and tune in tomorrow. Take care.